fallout from the U.S. men's national team crashing out of Copa America continues as we take a look at the numbers over Greg Berhalter's, I would say 10-year, but maybe we should say 10 years since there's been 2 of them. As we sit right now, still no decision from U.S. Soccer as to his future. Of course, got a contract through 2026. Now, despite what's happening with Berhalter, life seems to go on for those at U.S. Soccer, though not without some noticeable changes. U.S. Soccer forced to disable the comments on today's 4th of July post, I'm assuming to avoid further negativity towards their national team manager. It seems like a small thing, though there was quite the response to this online. Herc, is it something, nothing, or everything?
You can do this.
You can do this?
You can do this? This is everything we already know.
I thought you liked the comments.
I do.
Yeah.
I enjoy and embrace dialogue with fans.
Somebody should have told the people over at U.S. Soccer, even if you turn off the comments, people can still quote tweet.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
You just created a bigger firestorm by turning off those comments.
We had this discussion on air, off air, yesterday, today, about how the U.S. men's national team, the men's side, has not been a very likable team for quite some time in the eyes of fans and whatnot, and even Ali and I spoke about the women's team being a bit decisive and whatnot, and all the goodwill they have done. And now you are here. All you are doing is throwing more lighter fluid on this fire, increasing this hashtag Berhalter out, or whatever it may be, at JT Batson, or whatever it may be at Crocker, or Cindy Carlo Cohen, excuse me. All these things are just adding fuel to the fire. With being a big team, or the quest to be a big team, there is accountability, and you have to be able to handle this. If not, you're just showing that you're no greater than a small mom-and-pop shop. You can't be the big team. You can't be that big organization you want to be because you have thin skin. This, to me, screams what I've known from the Federation for quite some time, mediocrity.
What do you think, Casey?
First of all,
who's very online.
To Wilbon and Kornhauser.
DC guys.
We are good at soccer. The problem is we're not the best at soccer. And when you lived in Europe for as many years as I had, you learned the European mentality towards American sports. Invent a sport, be the only ones who play it, and call yourselves world champions. And if they're coming from that mentality, you understand where they're like, well, wait a minute, if we're not the best, I don't care. Okay, we are good at this sport. We've punched above our weight for years, and we've done a great job to get into the conversations where we can be disappointed when we don't perform. Put that aside. If you want to now get yourself into the conversation that you matter, you have to take the heat. In fact, I want the heat. I want the heat. That's because more people care and more people know to care when you underachieve. And I have no problem with that. No problem. If I have a bad game and more people say, Casey, what the hell are you doing? That means more people knew that I had a bad game. Not like, oh, isn't that great? We're just out here, we're playing and we're having fun. And no, caring is important. And now that more and more people care, more and more people are holding the manager accountable, the players accountable, the federation accountable, and then you hide behind turning your, oh, they're not saying good stuff about us, so I don't even want to know about it. No, puff your chest out and say, you know what? Yes, we will be better.
Between something, nothing, and everything, I'm definitely something. And maybe everything. I think the underlying issue that is kind of made clear here is that U.S. Soccer Federation cannot go about its day-to-day business as it used to.
No, it can't.
And it can't do that, something as basic as send out a 4th of July tweet, because of the vitriol towards the national team manager. And to me, that's the type of pressure which leads to potential change. And it's not just this Twitter account. You mentioned JT Batson, who's the CEO. He doesn't tweet a lot, but in the last few days, while all this has been happening, he has tweeted about a few things that are not related. He's not tweeted anything about this. He tweeted about the NWSL Championship game being announced in Kansas City, I think on November 23rd. 99% of the responses to it were negativity and vitriol towards Greg Berhalter. Today, he tweeted about El Tráfico. MLS is playing through the Copa America. We got 2 LA teams playing here. He was very excited about it. Again, 99% of the responses are about Greg Berhalter. This is the CEO of U.S. Soccer, and he can't tweet about the NWSL. He can't tweet about MLS because of the men's national team manager and what people think about. To me, that's a sign of the pressure. The other thing it's a sign of is just the negativity around this guy. And I would ask you, Ali, when does that start to impact the team? When people don't believe, when a whole country doesn't believe in your manager, at some point, doesn't that impact the players?
Yes, but you're also there for yourself because you want to be there and you want to win. Sometimes the coach doesn't necessarily matter because not every coach is going to like you anyway. You still have to show up and do your job. But there should have been change. Right after they had an amazing opportunity, right after the World Cup and after the scandal and all the things where there was so much negativity, and that was a moment where they needed to ignite the team. They needed to bring somebody new in. They needed a fresh start. They needed fresh energy. And they missed that opportunity. They missed that moment. In my opinion, that's where they went wrong. And now you see this is just the pattern, and this has just been a cycle. And our expectations were trying to be high because in coming into this tournament, there was all talk about we're this brotherhood, we have a new mentality, we have new personnel, we're a young team, we're excited, we've been playing in Europe, we're ready to perform at the national team level. And once again, we lose. And we're out in the group stage. And our expectations now have to go back to where they used to be, and they have to come down because we continue to get upset as fans, as supporters, media, broadcasters, fellow national team players on the women's side. We are all rooting for the team to be good, and they just can't find a way, and so there has to be change. This is the moment. Whether you wait a few more games or not, by the first of the year, you have to have somebody new, or it's just going to be the same.
You know what it is for the longest time, the U.S. Soccer Federation will let the news cycle take care of things. And Seb, we've spoken about this before.
Out of sight, out of mind.
It'll go away. Yeah. It'll go away. It's not going away.
If it doesn't go away and the negativity persists in this way, is that a factor in U.S. Soccer's decision-making? Like, does it matter to players and team performance what everybody's saying about their manager? Can there be a tipping point where the public's perception of the manager means, hey, we just got to move on? Well,
no club, no company, nothing really wants negativity surrounding anything when you come in.
Can it impact the team, though?
Of course it can. Yeah, 100%. To huge levels, no, but it's going to have a small point. But back to your point on JT Batson, I mean, I had a good conversation with the other day at the Brazil game. But I find it interesting that I'm working for a company, I'm working for Apple, and I say, hey, Microsoft's doing something over there, or somebody else is doing something. If I'm working for U.S. Soccer, you would think that I would be only U.S. Soccer. I'm not saying, look what MLS is doing, look what the NWSL is doing.
Somewhat part of the role.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, well,
here's what
I'm saying.
To your point, what I'll say is he shouldn't be tweeting about NWSL and MLS and pretending like nothing else is happening right now. I think that's something where I say, hey, JT Batson, are you here or not?
That's where the fans are going. Wait a minute. Your job is here.
Right.
And there's something
the most important thing
here.
right now is not what's happening in Kansas City on November 23rd, but you're finding time to tweet about that.
Look, if you're saying Happy 4th of July or you're saying something like that, that's one thing. But when you're talking about other entities, when your sole responsibility is this one.
Or at least your primary responsibility.
No, it should be your sole responsibility. There is nothing that U.S. Soccer should be looking at doing other than winning games for U.S. Soccer. There should be nothing about helping MLS, helping NWSL. No, it's winning games for the U.S. national soccer teams. And if that means all your players are playing somewhere else, why do you have an affiliation other than helping your teams win? That is your job. My job in my company is not to help this other company unless that helps me. And in the end, what helps you is most important.
I'll just say this. U.S. Soccer, their mission statement is to grow the game. This is not growing the game. It's adverse effect. there are people that want nothing to do with U.S. soccer, want nothing to do with the men's national team, with their manager, with the situation, are willing to boycott sponsors over it. They need to take a hard look at what's going on. I don't think they realize.